Alright, so now that we've got the bodywork pretty much done, I'm not putting the guards on until I fit the motor and all that stuff, and I won't want to scratch it, so I'll do that last. We have to address the driveline. I'm using the RB30. It's going to be the standard one that was in it. Obviously it's a built motor, but we'll talk about that later when I go to building the motor. But firstly we have to address the driveline issue. This is a 4-speed from a non-turbo VL. These are pretty much rubbish if you want to make decent power. If anyone says they have got like 700 horsepower going through one of these, the car is not making that. The 3-speed is a different story, that's pretty decent. That's a Turbo 400 out of a Jaguar V12 Jag thing. It's got a gazillion bell housing bolts, but we're not going to worry about that. I've got this box here because I might be able to use this bell housing and adapt it. I still haven't decided yet, but in saying that, I have to also make sure that the torque converter, which isn't that one, that's just in there to stop like dust going in there. I have to make sure the torque converter can fit inside this bell housing. I've heard you use an R33 Auto, no, R33 Turbo Auto will fit a decent sized torque converter, so I've heard, but I haven't gone down that road before. So what I'm going to do is fit the block into the car, get some measurements on which angle it will sit, because they don't sit perfectly straight, and obviously you don't want this sitting on a piss. And then we will address this situation. I'm waiting for a torque converter to come because of lockdown. I don't have one, so that is just going to go on the back burner, but at least I can like get some measurements and start doing some stuff. So while we wait for the torque converter, we'll make a sump. Why not? This is the RB30 sump, ladies and gentlemen. Inside this sump, it is full of metal and debris due to when it blew up all those 3 to 4 years ago. It's just been sitting under my house, and I haven't washed it yet. So I'm going to make this sump a lot bigger. It's currently decent size, holds about 7 litres. It's got a -12 drain from the head. It also had 2 -10s on it for the catch can drain, which after all these mods still didn't save it. It still decided to go kablamo. So what I'm going to do is going to cut this off and make it bigger. I want to make about a 10-litre capacity. I've spoken to a few people about this, some decent RB builders around the place, and one dude who is quite well known, I'm not going to say his name because I don't know, just don't want to. He was saying that I should do a 10-litre if I'm staying wet sump. I could do a dry sump, but for what I want the car to be, that's not what I'm going for. So I'm going to cut this off, and then we'll make a bigger one, and we'll probably put some baffling in there too, because this is currently just a large empty thing. Still holds more oil. It uses a Land Rover sump plug. They're the ones with an O-ring built in. They're cheap and are readily available to me, so I just use that. But that's this. So we'll cut this off and we will make a custom sump. I know there's still lots of stuff to do on the car, but we will start with this sump. There you go, sliced off. A little out of breath from wiggling that off. I didn't realize I had all these annoying thick bits, but whatever. Now we'll clean it all up, get it nice and flat, because we've gone to town on it pretty hard. Not too bad though. It's all good. So we'll get that all squared off, looking nice. This part here is looking strange too. I made this sump a long time ago, so I've come a little bit of a way in my fabrication skill. Still worked, didn't leak. Here it is here. Full of metal juices, no baffles, but not large enough capacity. There you go, motor's in the car, sitting on a block of wood. We'll test the angle of the dangle. So there you go, 10 degrees. It's not humongous, but it is on the piss. If you don't check this, then, I don't know, you'd have a lopsided sump. We want the sump to be flat. So we've got the bowl cut off. We have this all cleaned up, bright shiny metal, which is what you sort of have to do. I've deburdened here with the file, ready to roll. Obviously it's dirty as, so it will be washed, don't freak out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide this into the car because I can fit it. With this cut off I can slide it in, it's pretty cool. And then I will measure up how far I can come down, how far I can go across, and just make this quite large. The pickup comes down here. The standard pickups on these things isn't the greatest the way it's designed. I've seen a lot of people modify it, so it's like more like a Moroso one. It's like a big square with all these holes drilled. I'll show what one of them looks like. I don't know what to do about these fittings. They don't leak or anything. I'll probably just leave them because I want to use these two for the catch can drain anyway, and I'll probably just use this one for the back of the head drain. The reason I put these fittings at the front and where they are, when this sits in the car, they're above the oil level, so they should drain back in and not have it like blob 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 and gurgling and carrying on. So we'll wash this out, might put it in my dishwasher, and then we will go from there. But other than that, like, that's not the straightest cut, but it's fine because I'm gonna make a thing. So we'll pop it in and we'll measure up how far and big we can go. I cut every large panel part using a plasma cutter, and for all the laser fanboys on Facebook who diss plasma because of the slag have probably never used one. They produce very minimal slag on thin material if set up correctly. sump is taking place quite nicely. It is humongous compared to the old one. Now, the oil pickup is a problem. If you were to put it in, it sits about there-ish. So obviously it cannot pick up from the bottom. It needs to be a good 50 mil longer downwards, and I also want to change the end on it. So what we will do is we'll cut out the piece for the front here, and then we'll bolt this onto the block, see where it all sits, and then we'll make it so it gets as close to the ground or to the bottom of the pan as possible. And then once we've done that, we can make it, then weld the front on. It's a lot easier to do that if we leave the front off so we can make the pickup correctly. But anyway, there it is. It's taken shape. I think the old one might even fit inside there. It does. How funny. Alright, let's continue. So, had it test fitted into the car, as you could probably tell. I bolted the pan on just to make sure it fits. It fits. Now we can use it to line up everything else. Got the sump sitting on the block with the oil pickup bolted on. As you can see, it will pick up here, leaving all of this oil going to waste. So we definitely need to modify that pickup, which I already knew about. So we'll do that now. I've almost welded up everything. Obviously I left the front off, but we'll get it picking up properly, and then we'll weld the front on it and we can make it a bit better. No turning back. So let's talk oil pickups first. There's different types of oil pickups you could probably use on your car. This is a standard RB oil pickup. It has a little pipe sitting inside this gauze, which is kind of crappy. So I actually started using this as my pickup on this exact build, but I decided that's pretty lame. And I wanted to make more like this style of one. This is off, I don't know, some sort of Land Rover. It's all brazed, which is also a bit of a problem when you're trying to TIG weld stuff, because if you get any of the braze in your TIG, it sort of like contaminates it, which is annoying. But this style is much better at picking up, as the way it sucks up is better than something like this at the bottom of the sump. Anyway, or you could use something like this. This is the style that most of like the race cars use. It has like 100 and something little 3mm holes that I have drilled. It's obviously dirty. I haven't washed it yet because I've just completed it, but it is the best style I think you can use. To make something like this, you could drill all these little holes in it by hand, or you could use a CNC machine, which is what I have done because I own a CNC machine that I built about 5 years ago. So that's my pickup that I will be using. It is the coolest style to use, and it's the most effective, I probably assume, because most people do it. I drew up a basic sketch in Fusion 360. I only use the drill function as I cut it out using my bandsaw. This is the plate after I've cleaned it up. that's the new and improved pickup. It's how most of the proper race cars are. They're all 3mm holes, so plenty of oil flow. I can breathe through it, so it should be enough. If you come over to my disgusting bench and get this guy, so that's the difference. This is like a shower head type. It's still very hot. It's just a fabricated thing. There you go. It fits. I've already placed the sump onto the car. So once the sump sits on there, it sits super close to the top. I'll actually show you. So that's how close it sits. It's not 100% flat, but I mean, who cares really? The oil's going to be sloshing around here. It's plenty close enough. If you Google like RB30 oil pickup in large sump, a lot of the people when they do this, they make like a little step thing, so then that actually can't bottom out onto the bottom. And then I think they tighten it up and it like presses against it. I'm not going to do that because I made it so it fits. I probably shouldn't have put the gusseting in until I could have done all this, and then I would have got a little bit closer. But you know, that's close enough. That's my human finger, so it's that close. Anyway, gussets are in. That's in. Now we can put the front onto the sump, and then the sump is finally finished. Baffling I added was very minimal, as I'm running 2060 oil, and although unlikely, I didn't want to starve the pickup from an oil supply. So I've got a notch in the front for the sump plug. I've cut it so it's as flush to the bottom as I can with it still sealing. That will allow the most amount of oil to drain out when I've done it. I'm putting it on the front so it doesn't get collected by anything underneath. Not that I take this thing off-road really, obviously, so let's do that. There you go, the sump is completed. It looks pretty cool, I think. It has some baffling, we've got the cool oil pickup, it's all done. It uses the standard dipstick, so that's cool. I'm pretty sure it's going to hold about 9 litres, maybe a smidge more, due to its capacity and what I've measured, but I haven't filled it up in the car with the dipstick in, so I don't know the exact capacity, but it's definitely bigger than most that you can buy. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know most of it was just me making this sump, but this took a long time to build. I was surprised at how long it took, to be honest. But anyway, there you go. That's the sump, and we can see you on the next one. So take it easy.